Laziness is the silent thief of opportunity. It creeps in when we're not looking, whispers excuses in our ear, and convinces us to trade the extraordinary for the ordinary. But let me tell you something, nothing great, nothing meaningful, nothing lasting has ever been built on the foundation of laziness. Life doesn't hand us success on a silver platter. It's earned, brick by brick, step by step, moment by moment. And every time we give in to laziness, we delay the rewards waiting on the other side of discipline. Why do we fall into laziness? It's comfortable, it's easy. But comfort is a trap. It keeps you in the same place year after year, watching others grow, achieve, and thrive while you wonder why your life isn't changing. Here's the truth, laziness is nothing more than a habit. And just as you've trained yourself to be lazy, you can train yourself to be disciplined. Start with small steps. Wake up earlier, even if just by 10 minutes. Use that time to set an intention for your day. Read something inspiring or move your body. Take one task you've been avoiding and finish it. Don't wait for motivation to strike, it won't. Action creates momentum, and momentum crushes laziness. Think about what laziness costs you. Every day spent procrastinating is a day you can't get back. It's an opportunity wasted, a door closed, a chance missed. But when you show up, even when you don't feel like it, you're telling the world and yourself that you're ready for more. Laziness is one of the greatest enemies of progress, silently working against our dreams and ambitions. Yet many fail to recognize the true cost it exacts. Each time we give in to laziness, we lose more than just a few minutes or hours. We lose opportunities, potential, and the satisfaction that comes from knowing we gave our best effort. The cost of laziness isn't always immediate, but over time it adds up, creating a gap between where we are and where we want to be. Think of the countless moments where you postpone something important, telling yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and suddenly you're no closer to your goals. Laziness has a sneaky way of convincing us that there's always more time. But time is a resource that cannot be replenished. Once it's gone forever. Every moment you spend procrastinating is a moment that could have been invested in building the life you desire. Laziness isn't just a temporary state, it's a habit that compounds over time, making it harder to break free the longer you let it persist. When you're lazy, opportunities slip through your fingers. Life is constantly presenting chances to grow, learn, and achieve, but laziness blinds us to these possibilities. It convinces us to settle for less, to accept mediocrity when excellence is within reach. Imagine a person who has a brilliant idea but never takes the steps to bring it to life. They might tell themselves they'll work on it later, but later never comes. Someone else with less talent but more drive takes a similar idea and turns it into a success. The difference isn't intelligence or ability, it's action versus inaction. The cost of laziness also extends to your self-esteem. Every time you avoid doing what you know needs to be done, you chip away at your confidence. You start doubting your ability to follow through, to accomplish what you set out to achieve. This doubt becomes a cycle. The more you procrastinate, the worse you feel about yourself. And the worse you feel, the harder it is to take action. Laziness creates a downward spiral that traps you in a state of unfulfilled potential. Relationships can also suffer when laziness takes hold. Whether it's neglecting to call a friend, failing to follow through on commitments, or avoiding the effort needed to maintain a healthy connection, laziness sends a message, I don't care enough to try. Over time, this can erode trust and connection, leaving you feeling isolated and disconnected. Laziness doesn't just impact your personal and professional life, it seeps into every corner of your existence. It's important to understand that laziness often disguises itself as something harmless. It shows up as a need for rest, a preference for comfort, or an excuse about timing not being right. But there's a difference between rest and avoidance. Rest is intentional and rejuvenating, while avoidance is a decision to delay what matters. The more you indulge in avoidance, the more you reinforce the habit of laziness, making it harder to escape its grasp. Laziness also steals your ability to adapt and grow. The world is constantly changing. And those who succeed are the ones who take action, learn new skills, and stay ahead of the curve. When you're lazy, you become stagnant. Opportunities pass you by, and you find yourself falling behind while others are moving forward. The gap between where you are and where you want to be doesn't just remain, it widens, creating a sense of frustration and regret. The good news is that recognizing the cost of laziness is the first step to overcoming it. Once you understand what's at stake, it becomes easier to make the decision to act. Imagine what your life could look like if you replace laziness with consistent effort. Think of the opportunities you could seize, the progress you could make, and the confidence you could build. Each time you take action, no matter how small, you're reclaiming what laziness has taken from you. The cost of laziness is far too high to ignore. It robs you of time, opportunity, self-worth, and connection, leaving behind a life of unrealized potential. But you have the power to choose differently. By taking action today, right now, you can begin to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Excuses are the language of laziness. They're the stories we tell ourselves to justify inaction, to explain away missed opportunities, and to soften the blow of failing to move forward. But excuses, no matter how convincing they may sound, will never build the life you want. They are the bricks that construct walls between you and your goals, keeping you stuck in the same place while time slips away. If you want to kill your laziness, the first step is to replace every excuse with action. Action is the great antidote to excuses. It's easy to say, I'll start tomorrow, I don't feel ready, or I don't have the time, but the truth is, these are just convenient shields we use to avoid discomfort. Action doesn't wait for perfect timing, nor does it require you to feel 100% prepared. It simply demands that you begin. Starting, even in the smallest way, breaks the grip of procrastination and sets the stage for progress. Laziness often thrives on the belief that tasks are too overwhelming. The bigger the goal, the easier it is to feel paralyzed by the sheer scope of what lies ahead. This is where excuses multiply. It's too hard, I don't know where to begin, or I'll wait until I have more energy. But here's the thing, every mountain is climbed one step at a time. When you focus on just the next small action, the overwhelming nature of the task fades away. Each step you take diminishes the power of your excuses and strengthens your ability to keep going. Another reason excuses hold us back is the illusion of safety they provide. When we avoid taking action, we avoid the risk of failure, criticism, or discomfort. Excuses give us a way out, a justification for staying in our comfort zone. But comfort zones are deceptive. They may feel safe, but they're actually stagnation zones. Nothing grows there, nothing changes, and nothing improves. Growth only happens when you push through the excuses and take action, even if it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. Action doesn't have to be perfect to be effective. Many people fall into the trap of thinking, if I can't do it perfectly, I shouldn't do it at all. This mindset is another form of procrastination disguised as a desire for excellence. The reality is, progress beats perfection every time. A small, imperfect step forward is infinitely better than standing still. When you stop demanding perfection from yourself and start focusing on consistent action, you'll find that momentum begins to build. It's important to understand that excuses are habits of thought. Over time, they become automatic responses to challenges or opportunities. The good news is that habits can be changed. Every time you catch yourself making an excuse, pause and ask, what action can I take right now instead? This simple shift in focus moves you from a passive mindset to an active one. It reprograms your brain to prioritize doing over delaying. One of the most effective ways to replace excuses with action is to create an environment that supports your goals. Laziness often thrives in chaotic or uninspiring spaces. If your surroundings are cluttered, disorganized, or filled with distractions, it's easier to justify putting things off. Take control of your environment by organizing your space, minimizing distractions, and setting up reminders of what you want to achieve. When your environment encourages productivity, excuses lose their power. Excuses are also fueled by a lack of clarity. When you're unclear about what you need to do or why it matters, it's easy to delay taking action. This is why it's crucial to define your goals and break them down into actionable steps. The more specific you are about what needs to be done, the harder it is to rationalize inaction. For example, instead of saying, I need to work on my project, break it down into concrete steps, like I'll spend 30 minutes outlining the main ideas today. Taking action also builds confidence, which is one of the most powerful antidotes to laziness. Every time you complete a task, no matter how small, you prove to yourself that you are capable. This creates a positive feedback loop. Action leads to results. Results build confidence, and confidence fuels more action. Over time, this cycle becomes stronger than the habit of making excuses. When you commit to action over excuses, you begin to transform your mindset. You start to see challenges not as reasons to give up, but as opportunities to grow. You realize that the time spent rationalizing inaction could be used to move closer to your goals. Most importantly, you begin to reclaim control over your life. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a step away from laziness and toward the life you deserve. Discipline is not something you are born with, it is something you build. Much like a muscle, discipline grows stronger with consistent effort and practice. The beauty of discipline is that anyone can develop it, regardless of past habits or current struggles. It's not reserved for the naturally motivated or the extraordinarily talented. Discipline is available to anyone willing to take the steps necessary to strengthen it. And it is one of the most powerful tools you can use to defeat laziness. At its core, discipline is about doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's the ability to prioritize long-term goals over short-term comfort, to push past the initial resistance that tries to keep you in your comfort zone. Every time you choose discipline over laziness, you're training yourself to make better decisions. It's like going to the gym. The first few reps may feel difficult, but the more you do, the stronger you become. Building discipline starts with small, consistent actions. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to overhaul their entire life in one day. They create long, unrealistic to-do lists, vowing to eliminate every bad habit overnight. But this approach often leads to burnout and frustration. Instead, focus on one small habit at a time. If you want to wake up earlier, start by setting your alarm 15 minutes earlier than usual. If you want to exercise regularly, commit to just 10 minutes a day to start. These small wins build momentum, and over time they compound into significant change. Consistency is the foundation of discipline. It's not about doing something once or twice, it's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. There will be days when your motivation is low, when excuses seem more appealing than action. These are the moments that matter most. Every time you push through and take action, despite how you feel, you're reinforcing the habit of discipline. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes to stay consistent, even when the initial excitement fades. Another important aspect of building discipline is setting clear, specific goals. Vague intentions like I want to be more productive or I want to get in shape don't provide a clear roadmap for action. Instead, break your goals down into actionable steps. For example, if you want to improve your fitness, set a goal like I will exercise for 30 minutes 3 times a week. Clear goals give you direction and make it easier to stay disciplined because you know exactly what you need to do. Discipline also requires understanding your why. Why are you pursuing this goal? What's the deeper reason behind your desire to change? When your purpose is clear, it becomes easier to stay committed, even when the process feels challenging. For instance, if your goal is to save money, think beyond the act of saving. Visualize the life you're creating, whether it's financial freedom, the ability to travel, or providing a better future for your family. Connecting your actions to a meaningful purpose gives you the motivation to stay disciplined. Your environment plays a significant role in your ability to build discipline. Surrounding yourself with distractions or temptations makes it harder to stay on track. If you're trying to focus on work, but your phone keeps buzzing with notifications, it's easy to get sidetracked. Take control of your environment by removing distractions and creating spaces that encourage productivity. Set up your workspace to be clean and organized. Keep your phone in another room if necessary, and surround yourself with reminders of your goals. A supportive environment can make the path to discipline much smoother. Accountability is another powerful tool for strengthening discipline. When you hold yourself accountable or have someone else to hold you accountable, it's harder to let laziness win. Share your goals with a trusted friend or mentor. Use tools like habit trackers to monitor your progress. Knowing that someone or something is keeping track of your efforts can be a powerful motivator to stay consistent. It's also important to celebrate your progress along the way. Discipline isn't about being perfect, it's about being persistent. When you reach a milestone, no matter how small, take a moment to acknowledge your hard work. Rewarding yourself reinforces positive behavior and makes the process more enjoyable. For example, if you've stuck to your exercise routine for a month, treat yourself to something you enjoy, like a new book or a night out with friends. Celebrating small wins keeps you motivated to keep going. Building discipline takes time, but the rewards are worth it. As you strengthen your discipline, you'll notice that tasks that once felt daunting become easier. You'll feel a sense of pride and accomplishment, knowing that you're in control of your actions and your future. Discipline gives you the power to break free from laziness and create the life you've always wanted, one small step at a time. It's not about being perfect, it's about making progress every day and showing up for yourself no matter what. When it comes to overcoming laziness and creating the life you want, one of the most powerful tools at your disposal is focusing on who you want to become. Many people get stuck in patterns of procrastination and inaction because they're too focused on their current circumstances or the challenges in front of them. However, when you shift your focus to the person you aspire to be, you tap into a deeper sense of purpose and motivation. This vision of your future self becomes a guiding force that pulls you forward, even when laziness tries to hold you back. To start, you need to get crystal clear about the kind of person you want to be. This isn't just about setting vague goals or listing accomplishments you'd like to achieve. It's about defining the traits, habits, and values of your ideal self. Imagine your future self in vivid detail. How do they handle challenges? How do they spend their days? What do they prioritize? What kind of energy and presence do they bring to the world? The more detailed and specific your vision, the more powerful it becomes. This mental image serves as both a target to aim for and a standard to measure your actions against. When you know who you want to become, every decision you make becomes an opportunity to align with that vision. Instead of asking yourself, what do I feel like doing right now, you start asking, what would my future self do in this situation? This simple shift in perspective changes everything. It moves you out of a reactive mindset, where you're at the mercy of your current mood or circumstances, and into a proactive mindset where you're intentionally shaping your future. Every time you choose the actions that align with your future self, you're not just overcoming laziness, you're actively becoming the person you want to be. For example, let's say your vision of your future self is someone who is disciplined, fit, and successful in their career. On a lazy day, you might feel tempted to skip your workout, procrastinate on a work project, or spend hours scrolling on your phone. But when you ask yourself, what would the disciplined, fit, and successful version of me do, the answer becomes clear. They would go to the gym, tackle the work project, and use their time productively. Acting in alignment with that vision might not feel easy at first, but every time you make the choice to do so, you're reinforcing the habits and mindset of your future self. One of the reasons this approach is so effective is that it taps into the power of identity. Human behavior is largely driven by identity, by the way we see ourselves and the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. If you see yourself as lazy or unmotivated, you'll unconsciously act in ways that reinforce that identity. But when you start identifying as the person you want to become, your actions naturally begin to align with that new identity. Instead of saying, I need to stop being lazy, start saying, I'm becoming someone who takes action. This subtle shift in language changes the way you see yourself, which changes the way you behave. It's also important to recognize that becoming your future self is a process, not an instant transformation. You won't wake up one day and suddenly embody all the qualities you aspire to. Instead, it's about making incremental progress every day. Each small action you take in alignment with your vision of your future self brings you one step closer to becoming that person. This means you don't have to be perfect. There will be days when laziness gets the better of you, and that's okay. What matters is that you keep coming back to your vision and using it as a guide to move forward. To stay connected to your vision, it's helpful to create reminders of who you want to become. This could be a written description of your future self, a vision board with images that represent your goals, or even daily affirmations that reinforce your new identity. Keep these reminders in places where you'll see them often on your desk, your phone background, or your bathroom mirror. The more you immerse yourself in the vision of your future self, the more real and attainable it becomes. Focusing on who you want to become also helps you see laziness for what it really is, a temporary state that doesn't define you. When you're deeply connected to your vision, it becomes easier to push past the excuses and resistance that laziness creates. You realize that every time you take action, no matter how small, you're casting a vote for the person you want to be. Over time, these small votes add up, and before you know it, you've not only killed your laziness, you've transformed your entire life. One of the most effective ways to combat laziness is by creating a plan that simplifies your path to success. Laziness often thrives in the absence of clarity. When the steps toward your goals seem unclear or overwhelming, it's easy to procrastinate or feel paralyzed. However, when you have a well thought out, actionable plan, you eliminate confusion and make it easier to take consistent steps forward. A clear plan acts as a roadmap, guiding your actions and keeping you focused, even when distractions or doubts arise. Creating a plan starts with defining your goals. These goals need to be specific, measurable, and tied to a timeline. Saying, I want to get in shape is vague and doesn't provide direction. Instead, a goal like I will lose 10 pounds in the next 3 months by exercising 4 times a week and eating balanced meals gives you a clear target. Specificity transforms your aspirations into something tangible, and when you can measure your progress, it becomes easier to stay motivated and track how far you've come. Once you set your goals, the next step is breaking them down into smaller, manageable tasks. A major reason people fall into laziness is that big goals can feel intimidating or insurmountable. If you think about writing an entire book or launching a new business, the sheer magnitude of the task might overwhelm you into inaction. But when you break these goals into smaller steps, writing 500 words a day or dedicating 1 hour a day to market research, it becomes much more achievable. Small, consistent actions accumulate over time and lead to big results. Prioritization is another critical element of your plan. Not all tasks are equally important. And one of the biggest pitfalls of planning is trying to do everything at once. To avoid this, focus on identifying the tasks that will have the greatest impact on your progress. A great tool for this is the 80/20 rule, which states that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. Ask yourself, what are the key actions that will move the needle the most toward my goal? Then structure your plan to prioritize these high-impact tasks, ensuring your energy is directed where it matters most. A good plan also incorporates realistic timelines. Setting overly ambitious deadlines can lead to burnout or frustration, which often triggers laziness. For example, if you've been inactive for years, setting a goal to run a marathon in 2 weeks is not only unrealistic, but also discouraging when you inevitably fall short. Instead, give yourself enough time to make steady progress without feeling rushed. A reasonable timeline creates a sense of urgency without overwhelming you, striking the right balance to keep you motivated. Accountability is a powerful addition to any plan. Sharing your goals and plans with someone you trust, whether it's a friend, mentor, or coach, adds an extra layer of commitment. When someone else is aware of your plan and checking in on your progress, you're less likely to give in to laziness. Even if you're working alone, tools like journals, habit trackers, or productivity apps can help you hold yourself accountable. The key is to consistently monitor your progress, celebrate your wins, and adjust your plan as needed. Flexibility is another essential ingredient. Life is unpredictable, and rigid plans that don't allow for adjustments often fail. When you encounter setbacks or obstacles, don't let them derail your progress. Instead, see them as opportunities to refine your approach. For example, if your goal is to exercise every morning, but an unexpected meeting disrupts your schedule, don't skip the workout entirely, reschedule it for later in the day. A good plan is adaptable, helping you stay on track without feeling defeated by small disruptions. Eliminating distractions is another way your plan can help you overcome laziness. If you want to succeed, you must identify the activities, habits, or environments that hinder your progress and find ways to minimize them. For instance, if you're constantly distracted by social media, your plan could include setting specific times for checking your phone or using apps that block access to distractions during work hours. By designing your environment to support productivity, you make it easier to stay focused and stick to your plan. Momentum plays a key role in killing laziness, and a well-designed plan builds momentum naturally. Each small task you complete fuels your confidence and motivation, making it easier to tackle the next one. Over time, this momentum creates a sense of progress that propels you forward. Even on days when you feel unmotivated, the habit of following your plan keeps you moving. This is why it's essential to start with simple, achievable tasks. Success builds on success. A good plan includes time for reflection and adjustment. At regular intervals, take a step back and evaluate what's working and what isn't. Are you making progress toward your goals? Are there areas where your plan needs improvement? This process of reflection helps you stay aligned with your objectives and ensures your plan remains effective as you grow and evolve. By creating a plan that breaks down your goals into manageable steps, prioritizes what matters most, and provides accountability, you eliminate many of the obstacles that laziness thrives on. A clear plan simplifies your journey, giving you the structure and focus needed to take consistent action. Over time, this approach transforms your habits, builds discipline, and makes success feel not only possible but inevitable. Celebrating small victories is one of the most underrated yet powerful ways to defeat laziness and maintain long-term motivation. Laziness often takes root when the journey toward a goal feels overwhelming, endless, or without reward. By acknowledging and celebrating your progress, no matter how small, you break the monotony and create a sense of achievement that fuels your momentum. Celebrations serve as positive reinforcement, signaling to your brain that effort leads to reward. And this creates a cycle of action and accomplishment that makes laziness much less tempting. Many people fall into the trap of waiting for the big win to celebrate. They tell themselves they'll be happy once they've achieved the final goal, once they've lost all the weight, launched the business, or mastered the skill. While it's important to keep your eyes on the ultimate prize, solely focusing on the end result can make the process feel daunting and demotivating. This all-or-nothing mindset often leads to procrastination, as the goal feels too far away to justify the effort. Celebrating small victories allows you to find joy and fulfillment in the process, making the journey itself rewarding. Small victories can take many forms, and they don't have to be monumental to be meaningful. They can be as simple as completing your workout for the day, finishing a task you've been avoiding, or sticking to your plan for a week. These moments of progress may seem insignificant in isolation, but collectively they represent the steady forward motion that leads to success. Recognizing these wins keeps your focus on what you've accomplished rather than what you haven't, which helps you maintain a positive mindset and stay motivated to keep going. Acknowledging small victories is especially powerful because it shifts your perspective from scarcity to abundance. Instead of fixating on how far you still have to go, you begin to appreciate how far you've already come. This shift in mindset can be transformative as it builds confidence and reinforces your belief in your ability to achieve your goals. When you feel good about your progress, you're more likely to take the next step, and this creates a snowball effect that keeps you moving forward. Celebrating small victories doesn't have to be elaborate or time-consuming. It can be as simple as taking a moment to acknowledge your efforts and give yourself credit for what you've accomplished. For example, if you've been consistent with a new habit like waking up earlier, pause to reflect on how that small change is positively impacting your day. Saying to yourself, "I'm proud of the effort I put in," may seem trivial, but it reinforces a positive association with your actions and encourages you to keep going. For those who enjoy external rewards, celebrating small victories can also involve tangible incentives. Treat yourself to something you enjoy when you hit a milestone, whether it's a favorite meal, a relaxing day off, or a small gift. These rewards don't have to be extravagant, but they should feel meaningful to you. By pairing effort with reward, you train your brain to associate hard work with positive outcomes, making it easier to stay disciplined and motivated. It's also important to share your victories with others. While the journey to success is deeply personal, sharing your progress with supportive friends, family, or mentors can amplify your sense of achievement. When someone acknowledges your efforts or celebrates with you, it adds another layer of encouragement and validation. This sense of community can be especially helpful on days when motivation is low, as the encouragement of others can remind you of why you started and what you're working toward. Another powerful aspect of celebrating small victories is that it builds resilience. Success is rarely a straight path. Setbacks and challenges are inevitable. When you make a habit of celebrating progress, you develop the ability to see the positives even in difficult situations. For example, if you encounter a roadblock, instead of focusing on the setback, you can reflect on what you've already achieved and use that as motivation to keep going. Celebrating progress helps you stay grounded in the bigger picture, reminding you that every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goal. These celebrations create a habit of gratitude, which is essential for sustaining motivation. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, making it easier to find joy in the journey. When you're grateful for your progress, you're less likely to feel discouraged by temporary challenges, and this resilience makes it harder for laziness to take hold. Gratitude also fosters a sense of self-compassion, allowing you to acknowledge your efforts without being overly critical of your shortcomings. Finally, celebrating small victories reaffirms the value of effort itself. In a world that often glorifies instant success, it's easy to overlook the importance of consistent, incremental progress. Celebrations remind you that success is built one step at a time, and each step is worth recognizing. This mindset not only helps you overcome laziness, but also creates a deeper appreciation for the growth and transformation that come with hard work. By making it a habit to celebrate your progress, you transform the journey to success into a series of fulfilling experiences rather than a distant destination. These moments of recognition keep your motivation high, your confidence strong, and your focus sharp, making it far easier to defeat laziness and keep moving toward your goals.